T-Bone Grady, real name Raymond Kenney, is often thought of by players as simply a hacker you find later in the game, someone who helps Aiden. But his backstory and role in Watch Dogs 1 run much deeper and are central to the moral core of the game. He's not just a sidekick or a helper. He's a creator who turned whistleblower, and his journey mirrors the very dangers of ctOS. Understanding him gives you insight into Bloom's ambitions, and also raises one of the most chilling questions. What happens when the architects of a system become its greatest critic? Raymond Kenney was one of the early engineers behind ctOS, the central operating system that Bloom designed to control, monitor, and manage a city's infrastructure, from traffic lights, power grids, cameras, to data collected on citizens. But Kenney wasn't just another employee. He warned from pretty early on that ctOS was too invasive, too powerful, and likely to be used for widespread surveillance. He foresaw a future where, under the guise of public safety and efficiency, the system would become something else, a tool for total control. His conscience made him a threat. This is underscored by his most famous action, the Northeast Blackout of 2003, which is part of Watch Dogs lore. According to the timeline, he manipulated a Bloom facility in Ohio to provoke a blackout, which led to several deaths but also exposed ctOS's dark potential. That act wasn't just a stunt, it was a desperate warning, a way for Kenney to show that ctOS could be weaponized, that it wasn't simply a smart city system but a powerful tool in the wrong hands. Fast forward to the events of Watch Dogs 1. Kenney lives off the grid under the alias T-Bone Grady. He's hiding in a remote bunker outside Chicago, building his own isolated setup, so disconnected from the system that even Bloom can't easily reach him. Aiden eventually tracks him down not purely for companionship, but because Kenney holds the knowledge, the virus, and the moral impetus to challenge Bloom's control of ctOS. In some ways, Aiden is Kenney's instrument. He needs someone bold enough to plant a virus into Bloom's database to erase Kenney's identity so that Kenney might safely return to the system he helped build. But, as a critic, not a servant. When Aiden infiltrates Bloom HQ to upload Kenney's virus, he's not just performing a hack. He's helping Kenney rewrite his legacy. It's a very symbolic moment. The creator of ctOS uses his own creation, manipulated by Aiden, against the company that betrayed him. Kenney wants to erase himself from the system, but not just to hide. He wants to break his ties and reclaim his autonomy. He doesn't want to be a weapon of ctOS anymore. He wants to be a conscience. Kenney's character raises a philosophical tension at the heart of Watch Dogs 1. Even a highly skilled hacker like Aiden, driven by revenge, doesn't necessarily challenge the long-term structural problems of Bloom and surveillance. Kenney, on the other hand, represents a more systemic, long-term threat. He's not just hacking for revenge, he's raising existential questions. Who builds these systems? Why? And what happens if they realize the system is wrong? Kenney's entire arc is about accountability. Another thing to highlight is how Watch Dogs uses Kenney to connect the personal and the institutional. His warning wasn't theoretical. He caused real harm unsparingly, but with a purpose. That's a pattern you see elsewhere in the game. While Aiden fights for personal justice, Kenney fights for structural change, even if it means sacrificing his own identity. That's what makes him not just a hacker ally, but a symbol of the stakes. When you build a system as powerful as ctOS, the real danger is not just someone exploiting it. It's the system itself, and the people who believed in it, but changed their minds too late. On top of that, Kenney's presence challenges Aiden too. Aiden is morally complicated. He's not a saint, and his motivations are often very personal. Loss, revenge, protection. Kenney's motivations are ideological, and that contrast is important. Kenney doesn't just want to bring down Bloom for personal gain. He wants to change how the world treats pervasive surveillance. So when they team up, it's not just a tactical alliance, it's a moral convergence. But the game never pretends that's easy. Kenney is burdened by guilt, he's paranoid, he's isolated, he knows the risks are immense. Finally, Kenney's arc foreshadows larger Watch Dogs lore. Bloom's willingness to let a central architect turn critic and Aiden's decision to side with him both point toward the future. Bloom doesn't just want technology, they want acceptance or control. People like Kenney threaten both. And in later games, like Watch Dogs 2 and Legion, the legacy of ctOS, then Bloom's ambition, continues. Kenney's resistance in WD1 is one of the earliest sparks of that long-running struggle. In essence, Raymond T-Bone Kenney is more than a side character. He is the moral heart of Watch Dogs 1. He embodies the warning that the greatest threat of smart surveillance isn't only the hacker trying to exploit it, it's also the system's own creators once they realize what they've built. His journey reminds players that technology itself isn't neutral, and that those who design it bear responsibility, even if the world doesn't listen until it's almost too late.